Welcome to Next Tech. Did you know that the company Virgin Hyperloop has recently welcomed the first human passengers aboard a test pod? Though it may be years before it opens to the public, this pod can completely transform the face of transportation in the world. This futuristic test transport envisioned by Elon Musk took place on a 500-meter section of test track built by Virgin Hyperloop themselves on the outskirts of Las Vegas, Nevada. And the test lasted only about 15 seconds. Amazing, right? Let us tell you that Virgin Hyperloop is one of the several companies in hoping to bring Musk's vision into reality and build a transportation system combining both maglev technology and a vacuum environment to send people through tubes at more than 1,000 kilometers per hour. Today in this video, we will talk about the Hyperloop. Make sure you watch this video to the end to see how this fast, affordable, and efficient technology came to life. So let's start by understanding what Hyperloop exactly is. This is a new form of ground transport that will allow passengers to travel at over 700 miles an hour in a floating pods, and these pods will be moving inside giant low-pressure tubes, either above or below the ground of the Hyperloop network. Now, you ask, how is that possible? The pod will not even have wheels like a train or car. It will instead float on air skis or be lifted by using magnetic levitation against friction. But no matter which option is chosen, it is being speculated that this Hyperloop can break records of being cheaper and faster than any train or car travel, and even less polluting. And the added bonus will be that the Hyperloop Sea network will take the pressure off gridlocked roads as they go underground, while almost making it much quicker to travel across cities. The technology needed to make this project successful is still in its development phase at the moment, waiting for the trials to start. Where did all this start from, you ask? Well, the idea of using low-pressure or vacuum tubes to aid transport first came from the fact that the Crystal Palace Pneumonic Railway used air pressure to pull a wagon uphill, a long time back in the Victorian South London in 1864. So, similar systems that were using pneumatic tubes to send mail and packages have been used in the Hyperloop as well. If we want, we can say that one very clear predecessor to the Hyperloop is the vac train concept from the 20th century. Elon got inspired and thus reignited the interest in this concept, coming out with the Hyperloop in August 2013, explaining the working, costs, and details of the network. In this paper, Musk explained a service running between LA and San Francisco that will be cheaper and faster than a proposed high-speed rail link. There were arguments being supported in this piece that the Hyperloop would be safer, faster, and more affordable. It was also claimed to be resistant to weather, self-powering, and far less disruptive to people living along the route. According to Musk, this service had the potential to make supersonic air travel a reality. Short of figuring out real teleportation, which of course would be awesome, the only option for superfast travel is to build a tube over or under the ground that contains a special environment, Musk wrote. The working of the Hyperloop tube is quite advanced. However, the very basic idea is that the passenger pods will travel through a tube using vacuum, which is placed either above or below ground. Hyperloop here encloses the capsules in a reduced pressure tube, making it possible for it to travel at airplane speeds on the ground. Before the pod reaches its high speed, it will get its initial push from an external linear electric motor that is meant to accelerate it to high subsonic velocity and programmed to give it a boost every 70 miles. Each of these capsules will be able to house about 28 passengers plus luggage, while other versions of the same might be made to carry cargo and vehicles as well. And the best thing that makes this transport network the most preferable is the fact that the Hyperloop is planned to run using solar panels placed on top of the tube. Generating energy for the system, many have been comparing the Hyperloop with high-speed rail, but supporters argue that the former is better as it comes at a lower cost and is far more energy efficient. It's also potentially twice as fast as the fastest high-speed rail available. For many asking where the Hyperloop network will be established, let me tell you that it is not clear where Hyperloops will actually be established, but there are many companies who have already started sketching out routes in the US, Europe, and many other places. Some of the routes that can be expected are New York to Washington, D.C., Pune to Mumbai, Kansas City to St. Louis, Bratislava to Brno, Vijayawada and Amaravati, and many more. Now that we know about what it is, let's talk a little about the travel experience here. Many critics have predicted that the traveling inside the pods might be uncomfortable for many due to the nausea-inducing possibilities plus the lateral G-force that bends in the route. However, Virgin Hyperloop One has stated that a journey via Hyperloop will feel almost the exact same thing as riding in an elevator or a passenger plane. They said, although Hyperloop will be fast, the systems we are building will accelerate at the same tolerable G-forces of that of taking off in a Boeing 747. Acceleration and deceleration will be gradual with no G-forces and turbulence. Also, when it comes to the cost of a ride, the tickets might start as low as $20, but Virgin Hyperloop One is still not confirmed the news, saying difficult to say as it will depend greatly on the route. but the goal is to make it affordable for everyone. So what do you think? Will Hyperloop be successful? While we know we would like to think so, this is still an unanswered question, because even though the concept has been around for a long time, the technology was lacking all this while. This time we hope that Musk has found the root of the problem and solved it to successfully give us this masterpiece. The success of the Hyperloop will vary greatly as per the destination's locations, routes, economics of the locale, and many more factors. For example, in expensive land areas such as England, the costs will probably be high and thus harder to cover, while in cheaper land areas the scenario might be completely different. Another factor that might affect the success of the project will be its capacity. Though we cannot say that Hyperloop will be better at moving a large number of people from one destination to another as compared to any other mass transit option, but many critics argue that it might just be is Musk can take in consideration that volume of infrastructure that will be needed. More specifically, it is quite understandable that a lot of pods will be required to carry a mass of passenger numbers that matches or even defeats the capacity of traditional rails, which we know is already quite massive owing to the fact that the rails use much bigger and wider carriages than the pods. So it can be a cause of worry and maybe eventual failure to build the desired service. There are also a lot of many other engineering hurdles to overcome, the main one being the task of building tubes that are strong enough to handle and deal with the stress of carrying quite heavy, high-speed pods. Not to mention the high energy and cost needs, which will eventually do force the company to look at more efficient ways to keep operations running at as low pressure as possible. Before we end the video, let's also talk about one more interesting insight. Did you know that instead of keeping the Hyperloop idea all to himself, Elon Musk actually shared it openly with anyone and everyone who is interested or wanted to take a chance at developing it when he created the original plan? He somewhat compared it to the well-known Linux operating system, which you might know is an open-source OS design that was built by a community of developers a long time ago, with the vision to provide a smoother, cheaper, and better operating system to the people who did not want to or maybe could not to work with the others available in the market. Obviously, Musk did not give everything away. In his Hyperloop Alpha paper that he wrote, he stated that a number of areas were still very raw and underdeveloped, thus needing a lot of thinking and research. Plus, there was also many issues that remained to be resolved in that plan, including the built structure and the design of the control mechanism for the Hyperloop capsules that carry the passengers. Other undeveloped areas were station designs that required detailed plans for the loading and unloading process of both passengers as well as vehicles or materials. They also needed to think about the different versions of the Hyperloop capsules that they wanted to build, keeping in mind the greater needs of the people that will be used to service at some point in the future. Then comes a comparison of this Hyperloop technology with the more conventional magnetic levitation systems that were already present and in use, to identify if any of the others could work better to achieve the goal, plus to also test the actual feasibility of the physics of the Hyperloop technology before they planned to implement it into the transportation project. All of these problems made sure that no one, literally no one, took even a chance at trying to build this system before Musk took the task to himself. And now all we can do for now is wait and see what happens next. We know that going from a successful test to a complete public reality is going to take time, work, and a lot of patience. And as of now, Musk companies and even the people are waiting to see what happens next with our breaths held and our hopes placed very, very high. What do you think will happen? Do you see yourself traveling in a Hyperloop pod someday, gliding through a fancy tube at lightning speed at just $20 a piece? Do share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video too, and press the bell icon to get notified about our new videos. Until then, make sure to check out our other videos on our channel. See ya!